Chapter 12 of Jane Eyre chronicles how, over the next few months, Jane settles in to Thornfield. She finds some satisfaction in her daily routines, but is often restless, as she was hoping it would be a more exciting environment. One cold December day, Jane walks to the town Hay to post a letter. She stops to watch the moon rise when she sees a guide dog and a horse approaching. The horse slips on the icy road and falls, and Jane helps the rider, who has injured his ankle. As Jane walks on, she can't shake the image of the stranger's face. Upon re-entering Thornfield, Jane goes to Mrs. Fairfax's room and sees the same guide dog. After further inquiry, she learns that the dog belongs to Mr. Rochester, who has just returned home with a sprained ankle after falling from his horse. Chapter 13 begins the next day. Thornfield becomes lively as people come and go to do business with Mr. Rochester. In the evening, Mr. Rochester invites Jane and Adele to have tea with him. He says his first sight of Jane on the road made him think of a fairy tale, suggesting she had bewitched his horse. He questions Jane about her family, Lowood, and her accomplishments, having her play piano and taking particular interest in her art, especially 3 of her watercolors. Although initially cold and abrupt, Mr. Rochester adopts a bantering tone with Jane, and she falls in with it. She learns later from Mrs. Fairfax that Mr. Rochester was the younger son of his family, and he inherited Thornfield 9 years ago. Although she has more freedom than she has ever had before, Jane still feels confined. She misses having a companion like Miss Temple, with whom she could have lively conversations. Aware that many think women should be content with household chores, Jane gives a feminist view that women need as much intellectual stimulation as men. Her views about women's roles and needs, which are against the status quo, show how Jane has grown. Her independent mind is one factor that makes her such an appealing heroine. Once again, the moon plays an important role, indicating major changes for Jane. Mr. Rochester has the air of mystery, moodiness, and unpredictability, typical of the hero of Gothic romance fiction. His characterization of Jane as an elfish, fairy tale creature capable of bewitching his horse picks up the supernatural thread that is woven throughout the novel.